Hi everyone. So today we have a character guide for two characters. I decided to do two in one video because they kind of used in conjunction with each other, and rather than doing separate videos for them, I'd rather just do them both in one video. So first off we have Franca. Franca is a healer and also a damage buffer, right? So she buffs attack and crit chance. And she heals, or she targets in like a straight line, behind the unit that you're targeting. And she also dispels weakening effects, right? This support boost, 75%, this comes from her over limit, right? So this is from max over limit. I will show you how to get that. Well, first off, you do need to have all her resonance gear, which is not too hard to get because she is only a 1-star unit, so all the 1-star resonance gear is very easy to get. You'll get it eventually just from your natural pulls from the resonance gear section, right? While you're going for other stuff. And then you just need to level to level 10, and then you need some over limit materials, right, to over limit that. So I'll show you that after I go through the two characters. Alright, so for her cores, you don't need cores for her to function for most areas. The only reason you would put cores on her is for PvP. So if you aren't too bothered about PvP, you don't really need any cores on her at all, because there's no core that increases support power, right? So you can see this is the list of stats you can get. None of these are support power, and it's completely different to attack power. Attack power is only for damage dealers. So there's no support power core. So she only really benefits from HP, but most of the time, if she's going to get hit anyway, it's very unlikely she's going to survive. So it's only really like a min-max thing at like high-end PvP, just to give her a little bit more survivability, but it's not really going to make too much difference in the end. So yeah, you can just leave her ungeared if you want. So it's very low investment. Of course, she's a free-to-play unit as well, so you'll get her at the start of the game. So she's very easy to build, very cheap because she's only a 1-star. So all the materials are required are much lower than the high-end units. And she's used to this day as like a buffer and a support, right? So I'll go through that in an example soon. The other unit I want to talk about is Tina. So the two units are used in conjunction together, right? So the reason is because what Tina does is whatever unit she has a single target buff, right? So she only targets one unit, but on her turn she will lower the unit's health by 40% at max rank. At lower ranks she'll take more health off the target, which means that if you don't have a healer placed on your DPS, then she's going to kill the unit eventually, right, over a couple of turns. That's why Franca is using or together with her, so that she can heal up the unit back up to full health, and then Tina can then buff again, and then you're not in danger of the unit dying, at least not from Tina, right? And then Tina does a lot of buffs. She does attack power, crit chance, crit damage. She is the second strongest single target buffer for DPS. The only one that I've found has been better than her is Maybell with maximum over limit. I'll do a separate video for Maybell, but Tina is like a more accessible one because Maybell needs over limit, and she's also an SR unit, whereas Tina is only a 1-star rare unit, right? So very easy to get, very easy to get to max rank. She also does some like dispels, but this is usually not really relevant, but they are just a nice bonus. Now cores, same thing for Tina compared, same as Franca. You don't need any cores at all because in PvE you're going to position her such that she's not going to get hit. So there's no point having anything on here. She doesn't benefit from any cores aside from the defensive ones like HP, mobility. But even then, it's not really worth. Like she's not going to really reduce that much damage. So If she gets hit, she's probably going to die anyway. She doesn't have much health. But if you do put cores on her for whatever reason, you probably put health, if anything. And yeah, so let's go to the overlimit section. So to overlimit your Franca, you go to the processing plant and then select your materials here, right? So she needs this material, this echoing crystal of the fallen souls. And you can see here, this comes from Nevea. So that's one of the bosses. I'll show you where to get that. You need 60 of these to turn into 3 of these crystals. And you need 3 of these crystals to upgrade the overlimit once, and there's 2 upgrades. So in total, you need 6 of these crystals, i.e. 120 of these flowers, right? Now to get these flowers, you go back into operation, you go to your resource, and an armor enhancement. This is for all the overlimit materials. And then you want to clear Nevea on 1-5. It's very easy, it's not too difficult. Just run like your whatever DPS you have, your best DPS, and then use Franca and Tina to buff them, and then you should be good. Worst case scenario, you can also use friend supports to clear it. You can only do this 5 times per week, so this is a time-gated resource, right? You get 7 of these per attempt, so you can get 35 of these materials per week. So make sure you clear this every week, otherwise you will delay getting your overlimit for pretty much every unit, because each overlimit will be like different materials depending on the unit. So just keep that in mind. You should check the units that you are planning to overlimit to make sure that you're getting the correct material. Now let's go over like a quick example on placement. I won't do the actual fight, but I just want to show you how to place the units and keep it keep it fairly simple, right? So if I just use like one of my simple teams, all right. So this is like a very typical boss team, like to take out a boss. So you have like your taunt unit, then you have Franca and Tina, right? They're usually paired together, of course. So Franca will heal Tina, right? And that will splash back onto your DPS. And then obviously Tina will directly target your DPS unit. And that gives you a good amount of buffs. And like no matter how many turns cycle, she'll keep the unit alive, right? As long as there's not other damage going out that might kill your units, this should go help you deal with most bosses. And then if you're doing like a stage like this, you could run your Morgan instead, right? So you just swap your Morgan to the DPS spot, and then that will be for non-boss stages, right? Now this is a very simple example, only using 2 buffers. Now if you have more buffers than this, then obviously you have to change the ordering. And it's not too difficult, so I'm just going to go over like an easy example. So let's say you're adding in Fleur, right? So then you have to rearrange your team. So you want your DPS to move last, generally speaking. In the case of Nastia, you use Nastia last because she's an auto taunt unit. But if you're using a targeted taunt like Farnese, then Farnese will be most likely slot 1. And then your DPS should be the last turn after that, right? So you set up like this, right? And then you need to change the ordering here, because Tina has to target your DPS because she's a single target, right? She doesn't splash her buff at all. So you swap it like this. Now you could probably leave it like this if you want. You should move some units around. So we know that Fleur will target like this, right? So it actually looks like a triangle or diagonal. So you need to move your Tina like this to buff like that, right? And then Franca is targeting your Fleur, so you have to reposition Fleur to splash onto your Morgan or whatever DPS you have. That way, all of your buffs are going onto your DPS, and you're good to go. Now, obviously, if you add more units, this complicates it more, and I won't go through like all the examples. But if you if you add in say let's say like a Lina or Kajawu, then they have different targeting, so you have to rearrange them such that everything targets your DPS. Now keep in mind that Franca's buff doesn't last very long, so it's 6 turns, right? So if you put too many units in between your Franca and your DPS, then her buff could run out before your DPS moves. So just keep that in mind. You might have to move her up in the rankings if there's too many, or the turn order, to make sure that she doesn't, you don't lose the buff. Whereas a unit like Tina, she actually has like a very long duration. So theoretically, in some cases, you could let Tina die, right? You could position her in such a way to let her die on a boss stage if you're trying to trigger, say, like a Zhao Wu EX ability, right? So that could be something to consider as well. And 18 turns will last long enough to at least do one more rotation, right? Without worrying about it falling off your DPS. So that is pretty much everything you should need to know to utilize these 2 units, Franca and Tina. Thanks for watching. Hopefully I've covered everything. If there's anything that you're unsure of, feel free to ask in the comments, and I'll try to answer as soon as possible. Alright, so thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next video. Bye bye.